Have you ever spent 2 hours of your life feeling like you just wasted so much time? Yeah, that's how I felt watching Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Also, where's this Empire that they mention in the title? With a title like that, you'd expect this movie to take place in some frozen apocalyptic wasteland. That's the movie I would have preferred, but what I got was an hour and 30 minutes of exposition and like 20 minutes of shit that I actually found semi-interesting. What's sad is the movie really draws you in with its plot involving this ancient spirit that actually has a pretty terrifying presence, but unfortunately, this movie gave me blue balls for 80% of its runtime until it finally let me finish. Sorry for that analogy, but there was no bustin' during this Ghostbusters. I think the most unfortunate element of this movie is that it actually had a lot going for it. All of the pieces were in place, but they choked and threw in unnecessary filler and nostalgia bait. Before I get into that, let me start by saying that I was never a hardcore Ghostbusters fan. I liked the first two movies as a kid, but I was never begging to see more of it. I didn't bother to see Afterlife at first because I saw 5 minutes of the 2016 Ghostbusters and thought, yeah, this franchise is dead.
And here we go!
But after opening my mind recently, I finally gave it a shot. And it was actually quite fun. It was a proper passing of the torch with small amounts of nostalgia and some fun action sequences. The only minor critique I had was that it had a little too long of a build-up. I thought they would fix this issue in Frozen Empire, but instead they doubled down on it. Something about this movie had me convinced that the writers knew how they wanted to start the story and end it, but they had no idea how to fill in the middle chunk of the movie. It didn't really feel like there were any stakes. The entire movie, you're just waiting for something to happen as it cuts back and forth between a million different characters. I think it was a terrible mistake to bring back all the original Ghostbusters, as well as all the characters from the previous movie. The whole thing felt very cramped and it didn't give our new team of Ghostbusters a chance to shine, besides the main character Phoebe Spangler. Her story was actually well written. She's dealing with the struggles of becoming a teenager and being unable to work as a Ghostbuster due to her age. Her friendship with an actual ghost was an interesting part of the plot. That being said, for such an intelligent character, she does make some dumb decisions that felt so off from what we had seen before. They also introduce a new mythology that I found interesting, but it was dragged out and never reached its full potential. I thought Kumail Nanjiani's character would be nothing but a comedic side character, but he actually played an important part in the story and he was one of the few characters that I found somewhat entertaining. His tie-in with this new foe added more to the mythology of this world. So all the pieces are there, but it was executed poorly. By the time we're introduced to this vicious threat of the movie, I was already burnt out. And by the very end, we're left with an underwhelming battle with all of our characters in a garage. So I'm guessing they didn't really want to spend too much money on this movie? That's how I'm feeling, because they spent a lot of time doing absolutely nothing. There wasn't enough busting in this movie. It was upsetting because, like I said, all the pieces were there to have a great movie. The filler scenes and extra characters are really what dampen the experience. Now I get it. It's hard to build a new team of Ghostbusters with this little family compared to the comedic group of guys from the originals. Also, I can't help but feel like I'm watching Stranger Things anytime that kid is in something. He'll always be the Stranger Things kid to me. Regardless, I still would have rather seen them build a team around these characters. Paul Rudd brings an element of fun to any movie he's in, and there were moments where I forgot he was even in this one. Based on this giant mess of characters and nostalgia, I don't think they should continue with this franchise because I don't feel like there's a real team in place, and I know for a fact that they're still gonna rely on nostalgia for future movies. I don't know, maybe this franchise is salvageable. This movie may be very successful. If they make another one, they need to go out with a bang. But it is Sony, and they love nostalgia. So yeah, this was probably the worst movie I've seen this year, and that's probably because I didn't let myself watch Madam Web. I don't know if I have the strength for that yet. Let me know what you thought of Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Do you think this franchise should continue, or should they bury it? Let me know down below. So yeah,